for no. Okanesi afra neba. Hey, yejino grewi, na yejinemu. Yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR. Yejino grewi, yendi na yejinemu. Yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR. Eba. Nana basano ebetia kedia fo obebuda dia da pan no yisumu akura dia pie yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR erade asiesie no sa my dentene eno se sheki anase wosumpa ni chirebe ye no yebengu no OPATAFUOR nsem eno sigana maye misimu se monye kuma Efisaya mumuna OPATAFUOR no afiri apa ono na odi erade huhuma wone so no beba beji erade maye free kwa yemo akana esi ofra na eba yejino grewi na yejinemu yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR no yejino grewi yende na yejinemu Yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR. Adie radidi nam prophet OPATAFUOR no. Akanesio afira neba. Yejino grewi na yejinemu. Yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR. Yejino grewi endie na yejinemu. Yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR. Eba yo. Mema osiujatano na wodu moja tumi akana na fompesu wegu na yana osanyare wanso OPATAFUOR nie twedi amba onyankoponi OPATAFUOR nie Yesu Kristo nie OPATAFUOR nie onkonkunu so nie eno ti se wuswan ne so a obeye nchenchen mawai enrinya wo hini anampo su sedu ban the global sia asasia no naisia OPATAFUOR nie wa yare sanie OPATAFUOR nie we ye Yesu nie OPATAFUOR nie erade nkwaji enie se wakane bere umpa egiripie mu kese wai eye ma o se obeto ne poma no dade ekoti wani obepo kasie OPATAFUOR enim se wanke wo ho obeya asase tawai na mesia sheki anase wo so wa ni chebe ye no ibehu no OPATAFUOR nsem yejino grewi na yejinemu yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR yejino grewi yendie na yejinemu yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR ashera didi na prophet OPATAFUOR no okanesi afira neba yejino grewi na yejinemu yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR misi yejino grewi yejinemu yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR yejino grewi yejinemu yemana yiko prophet OPATAFUOR yejino grewi yejinemu.
Okay, well, a beautiful evening to you as well, wherever that you're watching live. I believe you all are doing well. I am also doing same here at my end. Now, you can as well leave your comment at the comment section, being it a question or maybe you're trying to extend your warm regards to my end. My comment sections are open for you to leave whatever message that you have for me. Now, let me quickly glance through some of the messages that we have at the comment section. Okay, I say, Ivadubuahe, greetings to you wherever you are. Kofi, Gladys, and Bruce, Sheena, Alice, Nyamike, Augustina, how are you doing with your family? Augustina, Auntie Oge. Wow, that is very interesting. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, Flora J, how you doing? Sheena, how you doing? Stella Champon. Stella, how you doing? I believe you're doing great. It shall be well. Don't give up. I saw something about you a couple of days ago, but it shall be well. Don't give up. Wow. Now, Michael Champon, Richmond, Mr. Yaofori, how you doing? Stovite, Kwesi Philip, Grace Koduda, Mami Ekuya, Ajin Anakwajo Daniel, Dr. Drew, how you doing? I believe you're doing great. Panda Online, Higaba, Ivy Brown, how you doing? And at the same time, we have Paul Suman, Mensa Richard, Gideon, Omari Ankama, Grace Wilson, Elizabeth Odro, Josephine Quay, Ebenezer Ohinitechi, Robert, Diana Owusu. I believe you all are doing well. Margaret Owusu Sechere. A beautiful evening to you all. I believe most of you people are in your evening sections at your end, and at the same time too, there are most of you people who are also experiencing their afternoon time. Some of you people are also experiencing their morning sections. So whatever time it is, greetings to you. Well, we in West Africa, Ghana to be precise, our time is 10 minutes past the hour, 8 o'clock p.m. So whatever time that it is, I am greeting you at this said moment. Jennifer Apia Sante, bless you this very evening. Now, I actually want to conduct something this very evening. Most of you people who have been following me. Now, when I just came live, how many of you people had a notification? Please, if you had a notification, please leave a comment at the comment section right now. I want to do something. I want to conduct something out. We are working on something. How many of you people actually had a notification when I came live this very moment? Okay, Kwesi Philip says, Papa, I received a notification. Okay. Because these days, okay. Okay, thank you all very much. Because I've been having messages in my inbox, being it that they said most people were complaining over the past days that they have not been getting notification anytime that I upload a new video or when I do come live. So I decided to tell one of my engineers to work on it for me. Okay. So then, I think there is no problem with this channel since you all actually did receive notification. Then I'm very glad you people. Okay, yes. Michael Champon says, but last 2 weeks, I had no notification. Yes, these were the said complaint that people were actually logging in. Okay, Jennifer Pia Sanchez says, Papa, sometimes I don't. I just go to your page. Well, I don't really know what the cause may be, but yesterday, I think 3 days today, I decided to contact some engineers to work on it because the portion dedicated for you to take anytime that you upload a new video, so that it will give these YouTube servers the permit to send notification to the end of all your subscribers. We have done all, but just that sometimes it doesn't work as how we expect things to work. So we are very sorry. We are very sorry. We are very sorry about that. We are very sorry. So thank you very much. If you all did received notification this very evening, I'm most glad, and we are hoping for the best. Now, let me do something quick before we proceed on to the next segment. Now, I actually want you people to go to the Rhyme page to go and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because for the look of things, if things persist as how it is, where when we do upload videos or when I do come live and people don't get notification, there is a possibility that I will switch all my programs to the Rhyme TV, because they have been using this channel to sabotage me. The channel has remained stuck and it is not growing as expected. And most of the comments that I've had, people keeps on complaining that even when I do upload a video onto the channel, they don't get it unless they themselves, when they feel like coming back to the channel to cross-check if I've uploaded any videos in there. So these are something that is actually pulling my legs. So I have decided that probably because this very channel was created in this country, most of these people have their IPs and stuff like that, so they can interrupt your channel or interfere with the activities that is ongoing in your channel. It's not unlike the Rhyme TV. Okay, the Rhyme was built in America, so people in this country can't penetrate the American system. So with regards to this information, if you don't see me on this very channel, then I have switched to the Rhyme TV sector. So please make sure to go there and then do subscribe, because I think that maybe from today onwards, this might be the last program that will be held on this particular channel. So most of you people who are not that conversant with the channel that I'm talking about, I am here to take you through process as to how you can actually get the Rhyme TV on your phone. Now let's see something right from that. Excuse me. Let's see something. Now this is this thing. Let me check something for you to know. Now let's assume this is your YouTube page. Now the page, when you open the YouTube page, for instance, like this, now you type in the search bar Rhyme TV. You see, I have typed in it Rhyme TV. Then you click on this like this. Now you see the Rhyme TV has shown over here. We have about 20.1k subscribers, and then you see my face on as the logo of the channel. So look at it. First, it used to be this, right? At first, it used to be this. See how it is spelled and how the logo looks like. But now, because some of you people have been searching on the YouTube and you're not getting it, and as a matter of fact, there are so many channels with that said name, Rhyme TV. So our own happens to be the highest of subscription. So here is it. Okay, we have about 20 point something K. It was built in USA, and then this is it. You see my image. Now, when it comes to this, then you click at this place. Now, when you click on the subscribe button like this, you're going to see a notification bell like this. Then you click on the notification bell, and then you select all. By doing so, anytime that we upload a new program, you are going to get it. Okay, so get that. Most of you people have not been getting the channel. Kindly please work on that. Okay, so that is the whole issue. That is the whole issue, because I don't want to lose contact with my people. So they have been using that because of the message that I've been throwing in. I've been alert that people have been fighting the channel. So any moment from now, I will be switching to Rhyme TV, to which you might not see me here on OPATAFUOR TV again. Okay, thank you very much. Now, let's move on to the next segment. As usual, we do dedicate 10 minutes of our time to receive questions. So please, if you have any questions, leave it at the comment section. If you have any question, please leave it at the comment section. My doors are open to receive any question that you have. In case if you don't have any question, to let me proceed on. Now, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Keep typing your message. If you have your message over there, leave it at the comment section. Leave it at the comment section. I have dedicated just 10 minutes for you to chip in your message, whatever message that you have. My doors are open. Be fast as you can. Be fast as you can. Be fast as you can. Teresa, how are you doing? I believe you are doing great. I believe you are doing great. Okay, Jennifer P. Asante says, I agree with you, Papa. I've subscribed to both channels, but sometimes I don't get notification on the OPATAFUOR, but always get the notification of the Rhyme TV. Yes, they have been using the OPATAFUOR to sabotage me. So please switch to the Rhyme TV as quickly as you can. If only you are enjoying my ministry and you want to do a follow-up, please switch from OPATAFUOR to the Rhyme TV. Please switch out, please, and then do subscribe for us. Thank you very much. Tonight we will be talking about strife. Strife. It's one of the interesting topics that I would love to pin my voice on. We'll be talking about strife. So get that. Write it at the comment section. Tonight's message is entitled Strife. Strife, 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 strife. So get that. When we talk about strife, it is a bitter disagreement on a fundamental issue. A bitter disagreement on a fundamental issue. So get that, okay? Esther Jumain, Mumuni, Reverend Tinedu Kodrapi Asante, salute you as well, Mina, great. And then Justice Osafo, thank you very much for you taking time out of your busy schedules to come watch this live telecast as well. Bless you all this very evening. So please, as I said earlier on, quickly switch to Rhyme TV. Rhyme TV, because most of the times people don't get notification. And when such happens, when you do upload the video into the server, and sometimes too, you see me being there, me having the mandate to access the server page, right? You see people have watched it, but when you switch back to the main normal page as how you have been able to access it, you see the viewership will be of a lower level. So it means there's some kind of a thing going on, and I have to be very careful, or else it might affect my ministry, because you might not get the exact number of people who are following you, so that in case when you're doing something, you take such number into consideration. So please switch to Rhyme TV and catch me there. So most of the programs that we have been doing on Tuesdays, Fridays, and then Sundays, it means that most of them will be held in the Rhyme TV channel. So get that. Roberto Donko. Robert Donko says, Papa, is OPATAFUOR going to close down or it will still operate? Well, we're not going to close it down, but I will necessarily pay no much attention to it. If you understand what I'm saying, I will not pay much attention to it. So get it. Abner Amsterdam, how you doing? I believe you are doing great. Okay, bless you this very evening. Faustina J, Mami could not do as well. Okay, that's very nice. Kwesi Philip said, Papa, please, is there any family relations or generational tie between Nimrod and then Nebuchadnezzar? I told you the other time that yes, the reason why Nebuchadnezzar went astray was probably because he learned from some of the things that Nimrod left behind. It was what Nimrod actually did that did influence Nebuchadnezzar's life. So get that. Okay, now on the theological and philosophical stage, strife occupies a position where most of the people in our society can't do away with it. At the end of the day, when you cast your eyes into the society, it tells you clearly that strife has become the norms of the day. And it is actually affecting our human life as far as progress and development, and then human peace is at stake. Now, on the notion of strife, it can be classified into two main streams, being it individual strife and then social strife. With regards to the social strife, it operates as a crucible societal tensions. And then in the micro realm of the individual, psychological strife also represent a significant internal motions, being it a tumult of clashing motivations and then unresolved rivalries between ourselves in society. So you see, when you read the Bible, let's see something from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 20. Let's see something from that place. I want to be a little bit quick. 2 Corinthians, please leave the write the quotation at the comment section for some of these people. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 20. Let me read it out. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 20. Wow. Now I am reading it. I believe most of you people for the past days now, the preachings that I've been feeding you with, I've been taking my sermons from the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 20. You see, I have the notes with regards to what I've preached on. We are the from the message of lasciviousness to uncleanness, tumult, swellings, and then today's topic as strife. I actually picked up all quotations from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 21. So today's two, I am reading it. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 20. It says, "For I fear lest when I come, I shall not find you as such as I would, and that I shall be found unto you such as ye would not, lest there be debates, envyings, wrath, and then strife." So tonight I am basing my preaching on the topic of strife. Strife literally means that a bitter disagreement on fundamental issues. A bitter disagreement on fundamental issues. That is why I told you that on the theological and philosophical stage, Strife occupies a place of a profound significance in our human life in society. So many people's lives have been destroyed. So many family, so many couples have been put asunder. So many marriage has been put asunder probably because of strife, that bitter disagreement on just a fundamental issues to which if we were to deploy wisdom, knowledge in handling some of these things, it wouldn't have resulted in how things normally do result. Now, when you cast your eyes in society, I have already told you that with the issues of strife on social level, it probably connotes to some of these grievances, anger issues among our colleagues in society that tends to result in killing and fighting, quarreling, and stuff like that. You see, sometimes when we do experience a hemispheric disunity where there is a seismic shifts among ourselves in society, it could also tend to impede human progress. So most rural areas or urban areas have remained undeveloped because of fights, quarrels among two pairs, among some category of groups who are not content with the decision or the ideology of how the society and people's affair in that particular vicinity should be handled. So tonight, I have taken to myself to address some of these issues. You know that as OPATAFUOR, as far as I'm concerned, I actually want my followers to live the best out of their life. Try as much as possible to stay out of troubles. You see, let me chip in with this. The lion always claims champion in the jungle. The lion always say, I am the king of the jungle. All the animals in the jungle bows to the lion. But anytime there is a fire outbreak, you see the lion running out of the jungle, leaving its possessions behind, and then running just like that. It should tell you that wherever that your jurisdiction may be, when there is no peace, under no circumstance would you dare to leave and then be happy at that particular said area. So if that be the case, then this calls for peace, living at peace with everybody. And then I have never seen any society who claims to fellowship with the Holy Spirit or great Yahweh at large, and that said society live in chaos and still the Holy Spirit lives at that place. It doesn't necessarily work like that. When you read Bible from Genesis to Revelation, everywhere there was strife, the Spirit of God left that particular scene, showing that the Spirit of God is not in support when we tend to fight ourselves, when we tend to quarrel in our giving society. Once we are tempted to overstep our boundaries, where the Bible has laid emphasis that we should try at all costs to live at peace with everybody. When we leave all these things, boycott it, and overstep our boundaries to which the Bible has authoritated us to live our life, to fight ourselves, we will keep on going to church every now and then, but yet we will never see the glory of God. Why? Because there has become an unresolved issue pending in society, being it unsettled because you are pain, you are pissed off, you have some pain in you, some grievances, some misunderstanding with regards to a fundamental issues to which if we were to handle such issues with wisdom and understanding, it wouldn't have resulted in that. So you see, let me cite this example. Now, when Abraham was actually moving from his father's house to journey to a far land in search of greener pastures, Bible says that when he was leaving the father's house, he actually left the father's house with a guy called Lot. Now, when Lot became matured, he went out there to get married. And when he got married, Abraham decided to establish the guy out of where Abraham himself and then Sarah do lives. And then, because of these strife issues that I'm talking about this very evening, every now and then, the headsmen of Lot and then the headsmen of Abraham will burst into quarrel, will burst into litigation, fighting themselves, where sometimes, if care is not taken, Lot is being lured to join hands with his headsmen in fighting Lot. So one day, Abraham sat down and says, look, we've got a very big place right in front and back of us. Left, right, center. There is room to occupy both of us and whatever that we have. So instead of us to be fighting ourselves, being lured by our headsmen to be fighting ourselves, I have given you that merit. Choose among these four physical quadrants where it suits your taste. And because of these grievances and then these unsettled pains in the heart of Lot, he was tempted to make a hasty decision under the influence of his own wife. And then Lot decided that he would choose to go and live and stay away from Abraham at large. So he moved to the Sodom and Gomorrah area where he went to establish. You see? And then right from that particular moment, when Lot left Abraham, the Spirit of God descended and attributed to Abraham that for the fact that Lot has moved away from him, he is going to bless him. He has given him the land of the Canaanite. He should occupy that place, stay there at peace, and then God will prosper his ways. You see? Now, the fortunate incident did happen when God decided to destroy the land of these Sodom and Gomorrah. Why? Because the people living in this jurisdictional area became very wicked unto the Spirit of God, and then people living in that particular confine. So when God decided to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, what actually did happen was that God engaged in a conversation with Abraham, and then Abraham, seeing to it that Lot lives in that particular area, he rendered apology on the behalf of Sodom and Gomorrah so that God will spare them and not destroy them. So by God being a merciful God, he heeded his ears to the voice of Abraham and gave Abraham a condition, meaning that if he is able to go and then count and get people who sum up to 50 to be righteous people in the land of Sodom and Gomorrah, he will spare the land. And fortunately for these people living in the land of Sodom and Gomorrah, when the Spirit of God descended and then counted people who were actually righteous, not even 8 people living in this area were righteous people. So at the end of the day, when God dispatched an angel to go and destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, being fortunate enough as to Lot, he had a personal encounter with these angels. And then, based on what he actually did for the angels, they exempted him. They excluded him when they were about to destroy the town. But because of the nature of Lot's wife, that woman is too quarrelsome, too loquacious in the house. She talks too much, always creating problems every now and then. When the angels even favored them and gave them instructions to leave the town because they are about to destroy the town, on their way going, they said instructions that was given to them to oblige so that they will be able to get to wherever that they are going successfully. They went contrary to the rules of engagement, where the wife of Lot, being it that they were being instructed not to look back, but their recalcitrant nature and how rebellious Lot's wife is, she was tempted to look backwards. And until today, as history defines, this woman still remains as how she was being turned into as a pillar of salt. You see, now, the most important message in here is that if there hadn't been any strife between Abraham and Lot, under no circumstance would Abraham instructed Lot to relocate and then establish himself somewhere. To which on the fortunate incident was Lot couldn't choose a better place because he made a hasty decision out of the strife, that rival shift between Lot's herdsmen and then the Abraham herdsmen, which later lured these said personalities into quarreling themselves and fighting themselves. So you see, the family of Lot were put asunder because of strife. Sometimes in a given society, there are certain personalities over there who could be of help to us, but probably because we think we are not content with some of their behaviors, we disagree with some of their actions, we tend to fight some of these people, to which some of these people could have been of help. But because of that strife among ourselves in society, we normally do miss opportunities. We allow certain favors to which the Spirit of God has chanced us with to slip through our fingers and go wasted just like that because of that thing called strife. When the angels even went ahead to favor the life of Lot, even where they went, they couldn't survive. There were some sort of strife among Lot and the two daughters, to an extent where it resulted in that the daughters of Lot made their father drunk and they had an intimacy with him. The elderly one and the young one, they got their father trapped in intoxication and then had an intimacy, had a sexual intercourse with the father and got impregnated for their father. You see, but if Lot hadn't left the presence of Abraham out of the actions of strife, I don't think all these things that Lot went in to an extent where he actually had an intimacy with his own daughters and at the same time went ahead losing the wife at large, things wouldn't have resulted in that. But because of these things, the family life of Lot was put asunder. Everything about them was destroyed. So you see, when you look at some of these things, then you could see the clear importance when the Bible stated that we should try and live at peace with all and sundry. Another example that I can cite when it comes to strife was Sarah and Abraham. These two couples were very loved by God. And when Abraham had an intimacy with Hagar and gave birth to Ishmael. At a point in the life of Sarah, she felt disrespected and felt as if Ishmael and the mother was mocking the Sarah herself. So one day, Sarah instructed Abraham to send off Ishmael and then Hagar to a far land, wherever that they go, they don't care. So as a matter of fact, when Sarah kept on saying and instructing the concubine Hagar and then the son to go a far land, Abraham couldn't heed the ears to the voice of Sarah, because Abraham was very pained. Why would Sarah in her wildest dream instructed him, Abraham, to send off his only begotten son away? Because as at that time, they hadn't given birth to Isaac. So the only child that Abraham had was Ishmael. So there was some sort of grievances and unresolved issues and fundamental and basic issues between Abraham and the wife. There was some sort of strife between Abraham and then Sarah. So one day, when Abraham was sitting somewhere, an angel of the Lord appeared to Abraham and said to Abraham that, with regards to what your wife is saying is of the truth, send your concubine Hagar and then the child to a far land for them to go and settle over there. For out of the generation or the genealogy of Sarah that I've taken to be my own. So when the angel said that to Abraham, Abraham was very pained because he couldn't afford to sit there and see to it that the life of his own begotten son Ishmael will be destroyed just like that. So Abraham knelt down and pleaded with the Spirit of God that he should favor Ishmael and bless Ishmael as how he will bless Isaac. And because such pronouncements were actually coming from the mouth of Abraham, to which God has already had a covenant with him. So sometimes people that literally have covenant with the Spirit of God, God cannot turn down their voice anytime that they demands the Spirit of God to do something. So God heeded their ears to the voice of Abraham by responding to the prayers of Abraham and said to Abraham that, well, I have heard you, but remember that the royalness will remain in the lineage of Sarah, but not in the lineage of Hagar. But whatever that I'll do for Isaac, being it the 12 family. Now the 12 tribes of Israel actually came from the vine of Isaac. It was Isaac who actually gave birth to Jacob and then Esau. And Esau went about building or coming out with the 12 tribes of Israel. So the same blessing that God gave to Isaac, he actually also gave the same 12 types of tribe to Ishmael, to which all these 12 tribes belong to God himself. So the most important messages over here is that if hadn't been where Sarah always quarrel with Abraham, fight him always to send off the child, and it pushed Abraham to make hasty decisions by requiring of the Lord to bless Ishmael as of the same measure as how he will bestow upon the generation of Sarah. Things wouldn't have happened in that way. So you see, some of you women, sometimes when you face some certain challenges in your marriage, You are tempted to make certain hasty decisions to which in return you tend to regret because of strife. Some of you women are very troublesome. I know some of the men are troublesome. And a man who is troublesome is more than the word troublesome. He is the devil himself. And I know that. But some of you women, you are too loquacious. You talk too much in the house from morning till evening. You'll be fighting with everybody. You fight with your own kids, fight with your own husband, giving him attitude and stuff like that in the house. I know. I will never say it that men are completely 100% guilt. But I know for a fact that you women will attest to the fact that over 80% of you women are troublesome in the house. And sometimes you tend to mishandle situations. And the decisions you take tend to dump you into eternal miseries. There are so many of you people who have destroyed your own family, your own homes. You have destroyed it because of certain hasty decisions that you made. You are aware of it. You see, all the blessings to which Abraham bestowed upon the life of Ishmael, he wouldn't have done that. But he did that because he was pissed off. He was pushed by the actions of the wife Sarah to do that. That is why I keep on telling you that from Genesis to Revelation, you can never get a single quotation in the Bible which states that the generations of Ishmael was cursed by God. It was never true. The generation of Isaac, claiming to be these Judaism and then Christians at large, are people who were blessed by the Spirit of God. And the blessings that we have been experiencing was laid in our genealogy by the true Spirit of God. And at the same time, the experiences and the blessings that the generation of Ishmael have been experiencing was placed there by the same Spirit of God. And the wonderful aspect of it is that God actually did told Abraham that out of Ishmael, I'll bring forth 12 great nations. Imagine the Spirit of God using these exact words. He says, out of the vine of Ishmael, I'll bring forth 12 biggest nation. And he said the same thing, saying, out of the generation of Isaac, I'll bring forth 12 biggest nation. Today, the generation of Isaac and then the generation of Ishmael are in banter, claiming superiority over one another. And all these things happen because our predecessor and our great grandmother, Sarah, made a hasty decision when Abraham had gone out there to have an intimacy with Hagar, which has resulted in Ishmael. You see? So sometimes strifes among ourselves could result in certain deadliest actions to which we will never forget it. There are so many people who are suffering. So many women have making hasty decisions where they claim their husbands have gone out there to have an intimacy with another woman. And because of that, they are divorcing the husband. And sometimes most of these women who normally comes to me and make such complaint, I tell them, where are you divorcing him to? Stay there. Be a woman and show your woman power. Go there and get your objective right. Play your cards very well. Why? Because when you divorce your husband, I know for sure that you will go there and be having an affair with somebody's husband also. There are so many countless of women on the street who claim their husband cheated on them. And today they have filed for a divorce. And these very same women are also in a relationship with people's husband. So for you to divorce your husband, being it that he has gone in for a girlfriend, to go and later pull your panty for another husband, another woman's husband also. Why not find a way to handle your own issue and then live and enjoy your marriage? You see, sometimes the decisions we make, that thing that we feel I'm being cheated upon, there are some women, even in their dream state, they will dream and see their husband cheating on them. In a dream. I'm not saying what you are being served with in a dream by the Holy Spirit is not true, but I am trying to cite this, being it that even these women, they can smell cheating. They can smell cheating. That's exactly what I want to tell you people. They can smell it. And sometimes when you don't do away with some of these things, you can never enjoy your marriage peacefully. If a woman decides to be checking the husband every now and then 24/7, I am telling you that from the very moment you started checking your husband that day, you will never enjoy peace. You will never enjoy peace. You will never enjoy peace. Why? Because I want to check my husband's phone, especially most of you people who are legally married to business moguls in society, who owns a chain of business conglomerate. Imagine the caliber of man that you are legally married to, and you want to be checking the phone of this man every now and then, who has been calling him at late hours and stuff like that. Do you think you live at peace with that man? You see, when you don't overlook some of these things and stay focused and find a way to handle the man to an extent where you will not push the man to give blessings to other fellow women out there. Jennifer Piasanti says, it's true, Papa. Since I stopped, I am more happier. There you are. You would have died and gone too soon. You see, so in reality, when you try to put a stop to some of these things and stop cross-checking your husband's phone, text messages, who is Akosia, who is Abna, who is Ya, who is this? I'm telling you, you will never live at peace in your own home. And sometimes if care is not talking, if care is not taken, right, you might push your husband, and out of anger, the husband will do something from the for the side chick, to which you yourself and your children, your husband will not do it for you. That strife, that thing, especially you women who always make hasty decisions by jumping into conclusion that my husband has gone out there to cheat, so I'm not going to give him sex anymore. Then it means you are giving your husband that free will to go ahead and be enjoying himself out there. Because once you deny your husband sex, automatically the love between you people will eventually die up. It will be diminished. And once the love in between you people diminish, your husband will not see your sort of relevance in the house. The only thing that holds you people tied together in the house is by having an intimacy with the husband. So once you decide to deny your husband that thing, then I'm telling you that automatically your marital life will die on the way. It will never survive. You can't stand it. So you see, majority of you people, that individual grievances that you literally bears against yourself. Out of strife, you have destroyed your own family. You have destroyed your own family. Today, it's like you and your wife or you and your husband, you are acting an action movie, and the children in there are watching you people. Some of you, the women, you are recalcitrant. I know what I'm talking about. I know women. There are some women who are very stubborn. Simple instructions, she will never take it. Simple instructions, she will never take it. Go out there, misbehave, come back, and when you are talking about it, she will frown her face. And in the night, in case if you want to enjoy yourself, she feels like, why should you talk to me in that way? And at night, you come and touch me. I'll not give you that room. And she'll be using that as a source of a means of punishment to punish the man. And by doing so, you are killing the feelings that the man literally have for you. So you see, some of these things, strife has killed certain people. Imagine the two examples that I've cited. Because of strife, the blessings to which Abraham was supposed to give it to his own son. Do you know that when you read the book of Joshua, 3 times Abraham went to visit Ishmael, but on no account in the Bible did Abraham went to visit Isaac. Why? Because Abraham was very pissed off. He was very pained because of the actions of his mother, Sarah. To an extent where when Isaac was of age, Abraham couldn't go out there to marry for Isaac or even accompany his gentleman to go out there and ask Rebekah's hands in marriage for Isaac. But he actually gave everything and all the resources to one of his servants to go out there and marry for the life of Isaac. Why? Because the actions of Sarah led Abraham into that action. Every now and then, Sarah will be quarreling in the house. Sarah fought everybody to an extent where Abraham ran and left Sarah alone in the house. So when Sarah died, Abraham had to come for the dead body of Sarah and bury her in the land of Haiti. Why is it supposed to be that? Why is it supposed to be that? Because of strife. So you see, let me tell you the reality. If care is not taken, strife will destroy you. Strife will make you lose something very, very, very important. Something valuable to an extent where you will never. You see, there are some people, I always say to myself, I said there are some women who are gifts. They are gift unto men. There are certain women in society who are gift unto men. When you allow them to go, you will never see their type till the day you die. The same thing also implies there are some men in society who are gifts. There are some men in society who are gifts. You can never get a copy of their type. There are one just like that. So once you get closer to some of these people and you begin to manhandle them, I am telling you that, you see, there are so many women. You are the very ones who have destroyed your homes. Your actions has turned out the light that the man was having for you. It is you, your actions, some of the things you say. Sarah was barren and was not having a child, but yet Sarah was fighting over property. When you start fighting over properties with men, the men assume that maybe you poison them or kill them. Why would you fight over properties? Sarah, the nature. You see, when you look at the life of Sarah, is the same as the life of Christians in this end time. When you look at the nature and the lifestyle of Sarah, is the same as the lifestyle of these Christians in Christian women in this end time. Why would you sit your husband down and tell your husband that, honey, please make sure you put everything in place, especially the documents of this house and the properties that we own, so that in case when you are not there, I and the children will not wonder about or go through stress. Why would you say this to your husband? And the very moment you start saying some of these things to the husband, your husband will assume that you want to kill him. So from that onwards, the feelings that he has for you, you have automatically killed it. The husband will start looking somewhere else. And sometimes they say women have power. Women have certain powers, but there are certain dimensions. Even God says that when I cry and roll, I call upon men, not women. So even God himself, he says he always call unto men, not women. So women have power to certain level, but not to certain dimensions. There are certain keys in the realms of the spirit that can only be given to men. So when you don't become submissive, humble, for men to open that gate for you to enter, to possess there, and you feel like you can do it, I'm telling you that at the end of the day, you lose it all. I am telling you the truth. 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 Today, there are so many women who are suffering. There are so many women who are also suffering. Why? Because of their attitude. Mami Akuya say, Papa, please, can women also cheat? You can go ahead and cheat. And after cheating, you move to that man's house, okay? And live there at peace. Okay, let's see something from Genesis 13, verse 7 to 18. Let's see Genesis. Let's see something from Genesis. Genesis 13. Genesis 13, verse 7 to 18. Let me read something out. Okay, you can as well to most of you people who are watching, you can leave your comment at the comment section. Write the set quotation that I've mentioned at the comment section for people to get it. Now, Genesis 13, verse 7 to 18. I am reading. It says, and there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abraham's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelt them then in the land. And Abraham said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my headmen and thy headmen, for we be brethren. Oh, Abraham was craving for peace, but Lot was not craving for peace. Abraham was a peaceful person, even he being an elderly among them. He sat Lot down and told Lot that let's try and live at peace. Let's live at peace. It is only peace that can help us to progress in society. Let's put a stop to it with the issues of this strife. With the issues of this strife. Okay. It says, verse 9 says, it's not the whole land before thee. There's a big land. Why are we fighting over properties? Why are we fighting over properties? There is so vast land ahead of us. At our back, we have land over there, left, right, center. The four physical quadrant of the earth belongs to us. So why are we fighting over this? Why? Why? And I pray thee from me, if thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. Abraham dwelled in the land of the Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. And the Lord said unto Abraham, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thy eyes, and look from the place where thou art northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thee cease as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Then Abram removed his tent, and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. You see exactly what transpired. Because of strife, there was very big land over there, and there was strife between Abraham and Lot. And Abraham, being a sensible person, he tried using all technicalities and strategies with wisdom that the Spirit has bestowed upon him to resolve issues. But Lot didn't want it in that way. So Abraham said to him, though I am the eldest, but I've given you the merit. Choose from the north, south, east, and west. Where do you want to go? In the actual sense, it was Abraham who was supposed to make first decision by choosing and saying that, okay, now I am going here, you to go here. But Abraham, having a clean and a clear conscience, he didn't like it that way. He said to Lot, he says, you firstly choose. And Lot was thinking to be smart. So he chose the place that was very greeny to go and live there, not knowing that in one day it will tend to become Sodom and Gomorrah. So you see, there are some women and men. You see, there are certain people in societies that God will help us to come close to some of these people, and they are in our life to guide us, to support us, to bring us and make sure that we become successful in all our endeavors. And sometimes grief, disrespect, and arrogance will let these people go. Abraham was put in place in the life of Lot to make sure he becomes successful in life. But Lot thought that he was matured enough and he didn't need the help of the uncle anymore. So he had to stand man to man with Abraham. And Abraham didn't like it in that way. Because you, Lot, when you decided to follow Abraham, you were very young. It was Abraham who saw to the upbringing of you when you were very young, and only for you to grow beards. Now you stand head to head with Abraham. And Abraham felt that within and said to Lot that let's try and smoke peace pipe. Let's settle these issues amicably. Let's try and live at peace. You see, the foundation of Lot was destroyed. The foundation of Lot was destroyed because the foundation of every man, every woman is or her family. But let's assume your family has been put asunder. It means your foundation has been destroyed. You don't have any better foundation. Now, if Christianity and Judaism are to be destroyed, it means the foundation of great Yahweh and Yeshua, who is Christ in these recent times, has been put asunder. It means it has been destroyed. They don't have any better foundations anymore. Because of the nature, there are certain men of God who will come with the fullness of the grace of the Holy Spirit and the wisdom of God. God will intentionally put certain prophet and certain men of God in your life for them to correct you and make sure to nurture your spirit for you to flourish and become successful physically. But most of you people, sometimes you bear grudges and you have been giving hearings to some of the sayings of society, being it that your pastor is this, your pastor is that. And you make a hasty decision by isolating yourself from the anointing. And only for you to isolate yourself from the anointing or the grace upon great Whitehead, and the enemies will pound on you and destroy you. So you see, when Lot moved away and decided to part ways with Abraham, what led him? He later destroyed his own family. What he has labored for so many years, he literally put it asunder and destroyed everything. That's how some of you people are. Sometimes you build a relationship with somebody in a friendship way, friends of benefit. Every now and then, you people used to support yourself, and only one day for you to wake up, then you don't see you not see the whereabout of some boisterous movement. It's like some rivals. You people have become some sort of rivals. You'll be fighting yourself over a fundamental issues to which, if you people were to sit down and articulate wisdom to it in trying to synthesize whatever that is on board to solve it out. You see, the foundation of Lot was destroyed because of strife. Now let's see something from Genesis chapter 21 verse 9 to 14. Genesis 21. If you have your Bibles, Genesis chapter 21 verse Genesis 21 verse 9 to 14. Genesis 21 verse 9 to 14. Let's see something. I am reading from my own King James Version. It says, and Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous, grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. You see, now, and God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, in all that Sarah had said unto thee. Hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation. Listen to it, because he is thy seed. Listen to it. So if hadn't been the action of Sarah, like, God wouldn't have blessed Ishmael. Now verse 14 says, and Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. So pathetic. So this was what actually transpired. Now let's see something from Genesis 17 verse 18. Genesis 17 verse 18 to 22. Listen to what actually happened. Now, then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? Oh, okay. Let me quickly move to verse 18. Listen to me. Genesis chapter 17, verse 18 to 22. Let's see what actually transpired. Now, verse 18 says, and Abraham said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. Now verse 20 says, and as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him. You see, God says, I have heard thee, which means there was some sort of communication that actually went on between God and Abraham. And being it that Abraham was pleading on the behalf of Ishmael, to which Sarah had made him walk them out of their tent. So God said to Abraham that I have heard you. I have heard you. I have listened to you. And because of you, Abraham, I will bless Ishmael. And listen to the sort of blessings that through Abraham, God bestowed upon Ishmael. And he says, and as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him and will make him fruitful and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. You see, he says, but my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. You see, so some of you people, some of the women, the mistake Sarah did, you are also doing the same mistake. You are in your husband's house to be checking his text message. Where are you coming from? I can perceive the smell of a female around you. It's like, why are you smelling feminine? I saw a lady texting you a message. And by showing these signs and this sort of attitude, you are pushing your husband away. And if care is not taken, the blessings which you are supposed to have will be shared. They will take part of your blessing and give it to the side chick because of your action, the way you talk. the way you must handle things. So you see, now, when you read the Bible carefully, you could see that during the day of Isaac's wedding, Abraham never went there. Why? Because I have already told you that as a woman, anything you do against a man, it will automatically affect your children's life. Because by nature and by courtesy demands, children are the bona fide property of a woman. Children belongs to a woman, not a man. So what you do to your husband will affect the life of your children. You see the realities of it. Especially some of you people whose husbands are very rich. Some of you people whose husbands are very, very, very rich. So you see, strife is not something that you should even allow for it to be echoed in your corridors. It is not something that you should even allow it. Because Sarah faced some of these challenges and she couldn't handle it. It got to a time. You see, sometimes when you study beyond scriptures, read the book of Jasher, you see the realities of what actually transpired between Sarah and then Abraham. So get it once and for all and understand that strife is something that is not worth it. If care is not taken, you can lose something very vital, something very important in your life. And at the end of the day, after you've lost everything, there's nothing you can do about it. Some of you people, you pray to God, God will bring you a good man. And because of your evil nature, you push the good man away. Then you tend to come to the presence of God and still be crying. Some of you people, you don't know what God has said about you. If you are to be fortunate enough to be made known to some of the things that God has said about you, you will not even bother yourself going to pray. Why? Because your own attitude has warranted the Spirit of God to say certain things about you. You see, look at the things that God said about humans during the times of Moses. He said, I have regretted creating human. I will destroy what I have created. So you see, some of you people, your actions have made God to say in secret place that they have regretted creating you because of your action, the way you talk, your recalcitrant nature, how rebellious you are. You are in the house to give peace and make sure everything becomes successful in the house. You are not in the house of your husband to check his phone and who called him at 2 a.m. and who sent you this message. That is not what you actually went in there to do. You went in there to support the husband, make sure that whatever that he touches with the hands becomes successful. You are to stand in, fight. You are to stand in, pray. You are to stand in and make provision of peace. It is your responsibility as a woman. Some of you, the women, you even have issues with your mother-in-laws. You have issues with your mother-in-laws. Why? Because when the man's mother comes in the house, you don't feel comfortable for it. But when your mom pays a visit, with that one, you are comfortable. Is that not evilness? Somebody will conceive her son, nurture the son for the son to grow and become matured, only for the son to be legally and tied with you. as custom demands through marital rights. And one day, if the mother decides to pay a visit to the man, just 3, 4, 5 days, you have issues with the woman. Why? Because the woman has some attitude. When the mother of your husband comes in, your mother-in-law comes in, you have attitude. The mother has some attitude and you can't tolerate it. And who told you that you entered into the marriage to marry only your husband? Let me tell you, even the dog in your husband's family, once you get married to your husband, you have married that dog in the family also. So everybody that comes in, you must welcome the person. Even if some of them have a bad attitude, be the wisest woman like Abigail. Be a wise woman to handle all these troublesome family members. I know some mother-in-laws are like Marijata. They are the King Kongs of the family. But sometimes, because of Christ, find a way, a better way to handle those people so that in all, you will not find yourself with problems. Some of you, the women, your mother-in-laws have cursed you. You don't know. Your mother-in-laws have cursed you secretly, but you are not aware of it. The other time, you use some words right in front of her, and she didn't like it. And instead of you to say, sorry, mama, and apologize, you didn't do it. Sometimes the old women, they will not say anything. They will be just looking at you. And because of the relationship at stake, they will not say anything. But when they go into their secret abode, they will curse you. So some of the challenges that some of you women have been facing in your marriage, it is your mother-in-laws who actually placed a curse in that relationship. And sometimes some of you, the women, you deserve it. You deserve to be cursed. I must tell you the truth. I have witnessed some of my eyes. I have stayed in compound houses and lived with people. So when I'm saying some of these things, I know exactly what I'm saying. So tonight, be very careful with some of your actions, because one day you'll regret it. You'll regret it. The way you go about with things, you'll regret it. You'll be regret it. Sometimes when you allow the glass to break into pieces, sorry means nothing. I'm telling you the truth. When people are genuine in your life and you hurt them, when you deliberately hurt them, there are some men who are genuine. They came into your life with genuineness, authentic. They are in for you. They are willing to sacrifice. They are willing to help. As a matter of fact, what they are doing shows a sign. It should tell you that these men are willing to help you, support you, and see through that you become successful in life. And when you deliberately hurt these men, I am sorry will mean nothing to them. There are some men, when you say I'm sorry, it will mean nothing to them. The same thing also implies to the men. There are some women who are genuine and are willing to support you in all angles. It's just that some of the women, they don't have money, but with their character, their attitude, how they have become supportive and how they take very good care of you. When you hurt her, I am telling you that I am sorry will mean nothing, will mean nothing to her. So young lady, a woman who is watching me, who actually falls between the age of 18 to 45 years of age, tonight, I am telling you to be very careful with your actions. The way some of you people, you literally bear grudges and hold grievances against your men. Bear it in mind that you are destroying your own self. There are so many broken homes in Africa because of the way some of these men and women carry themselves. Be very careful. Be very careful as a young woman. God will give you a genuine angel. And out of your own action, you turn the angel to become a demon. And the demon will be terrorizing your life. Sometimes the way you talk will turn your husbands into demons, your fiancés into demons. And sometimes when you do certain things and men intentionally overlook it, don't see them as fools. Or when you do something to you, your woman, negatively, and she overlooks it, don't see her to be a fool. OPATAFUOR, I will always tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. I will always tell you the truth. Make sure you resolve issues. Live at peace with all and sundry. One day you remember OPATAFUOR when OPATAFUOR was alive. Even me not being the husband of some of these women. When they come to church, you will never give them a single instruction and they will obey it. So I know what I'm talking about. Imagine me, OPATAFUOR, being a reverend minister and giving her instruction, and she will intentionally overlook it. Some of you women, some of you women, when you talk, I don't listen. I don't even bother myself responding to you, right? Especially you, the women who don't know how to talk. You have been giving cheeky response to questions and stuff like that. Sometimes you can physically present yourself very well, and one word from your mouth will defile you. Sometimes you go to a public gathering and you'll be there looking very elegant, presentable, and only for people to throw a question to you. And instead of you to exercise restraint and answer it peacefully, you start throwing yourself on the ground, and people realize that, this woman, the way she's dressed, I thought she was very wise. Look at what she's saying. You see, some of you women, what you say defiles you. It ridicules you. It brings you to nothing. So change your life. Change your life. Change your life before it's too late. Change your life. You don't stand in front of your husband when anytime you see your husband is angry. Don't debate issues with him. Just stand there, keep your mouth mute. Don't say anything, mute. And don't frown your face. Just stand there, mute. Don't frown your face at the same time. You see, some of you women, one day I will take my time and then carry my cane and move from one house to the other and beat the hell out of some of you people. You are laughing. Why? Because why would sometimes women feel as if you are legally married to them, so they are equal to you in age, irrespective of you people, your age difference. Even though if you are older than your husband, as far as marriage is concerned, the husband is older than you. So you don't talk to your husband as if he's your playmate. You don't talk to your husband as if he's your playmate. Your husband is not your playmate. He's your father. He has taken the responsibilities of your father. So you accord him with maximum respect. One day I'll beat the hell out of some of you people and you realize who I am. Thank you very much and God bless you. Tomorrow happens to be 1st October. And as Kelsey demands, We are still continuing on the 48 months to paradise. Meet me exactly 8 o'clock p.m. on all channels. Bless you.